Hey, what's up, coin collectors and curious folks? You ever find yourself staring at a coin, wondering if it's worth a fortune? I mean, we all dream of finding that one rare coin that turns us into the next millionaire overnight, right? Well, buckle up, because today we're talking about a specific coin that has some serious market value. The 1776 to 1976 no mint mark Washington quarter dollar coin. Sounds like a mouthful, but trust me, this little guy has a big story and big value behind it. And no, I'm not kidding. This coin could be worth up to $1 million. Yes, 1 million. So grab your magnifying glass because we're about to dive into the world of rare coins. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why that dusty quarter at the bottom of your jar might just be more valuable than your entire collection of spare change. Let's get straight to it. The 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter was made to celebrate America's bicentennial. In 1976, the U.S. Mint created a special design for the quarter, not just any regular quarter. The coin features a patriotic design on the reverse side with a drummer boy and the Liberty Bell, and on the obverse side, of course, you have the traditional George Washington portrait. Now, here's the kicker. Most of the 1776 to 1976 quarters were minted with a mint mark, so you'll see a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco on the back. But here's the thing. There are some 1976 quarters with no mint mark at all. The ones without a mint mark are way rarer than you think, and that rarity is what makes them worth a small fortune. But why are these no mint mark 1976 quarters so valuable? Well, turns out, the U.S. Mint had a bit of a hiccup in 1976. They produced a batch of quarters at the Philadelphia Mint without putting the usual P mint mark on them. This mistake happened at a time when everyone was focused on the Bicentennial, and these coins got lost in the shuffle. So, if you've got one of these rare quarters sitting in your collection, it could be worth anywhere from a couple $100 to a whopping $1 million. Yes, 1 million. Now, before you go raiding your couch cushions or the bottom of your coin jar, remember, the condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value. So, what does that mean? Well, if your 1776 to 1976 quarter is worn down, scratched up, or has a ton of tarnish, don't expect to sell it for $1 million. But if your coin is in mint condition, like barely touched by human hands since 1976, you might just have a gold mine. Quick side story for you. This actually happened to me once. I was cleaning out an old coin collection my grandfather passed down to me. You know, those boxes of coins we all stash away thinking, maybe they'll be worth something someday. Well, I came across this quarter from 1976, and it didn't have a mint mark. I thought, hey, maybe this is it. Maybe I'm holding $1 million coin. Of course, it turned out to be one of the more common versions. But that doesn't stop me from checking all my quarters like I'm on some epic treasure hunt. Trust me, it's a wild ride. So, how do you know if you've got one of these $1 million quarters? First, check the year, 1776 to 1976. Then, look for the lack of a mint mark. If it's truly mint condition and has no mint mark, you might want to get it appraised. In fact, I recommend heading to a professional numismatist, a coin expert, who can tell you the exact value of your coin. But don't get too discouraged if you don't find the jackpot. Remember, there are other valuable coins out there just waiting to be discovered. From rare pennies to limited edition dimes, the world of coin collecting is full of surprises. And trust me, that change jar you've been neglecting might just hold the next big discovery. So, what's the takeaway here? The 1776 to 1976 no mint mark Washington quarter could be worth a fortune, but only if you've got one in good condition. Don't throw out any of your old quarters just yet. A little bit of research, a little bit of luck, and you might just find yourself with a coin worth more than you thought. And hey, I know hunting for rare coins might seem like a long shot, but it's a fun journey, right? If you're into discovering hidden treasures, hit that subscribe button for more tips on valuable coins, collecting strategies, and all the quirky coin facts you never knew you needed in your life. Catch you next time, fellow treasure hunters. Happy collecting, and keep your eyes peeled for that next big find. Who knows? It might be in your pocket right now. Have you ever looked at your pocket change and thought, could I be holding a small fortune right now? I mean, we all know the drill. There's a lot of boring pennies, nickels, and dimes floating around out there. But what if one of them, just one, was worth more than your car? Well, stick with me, because today we're talking about a coin you probably have in your collection right now, the 1972 no-mint mark Washington quarter, and its jaw-dropping market value of up to $1.10 million. Sounds crazy, right? But trust me, we're going to break it down, and by the end of this video, you might just be checking your change a little more closely. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, sure. $1 million quarter? That's got to be a scam, or at the very least, a typo on the internet somewhere. And, well, I can't blame you for being skeptical. But bear with me because this story gets better than a Netflix documentary about rare coins. First, let's talk about what makes this 1972 quarter so special. Normally, a standard Washington quarter has a mint mark, right? That tiny little letter under the eagle that tells you where the coin was made. It's either a D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, or no mint mark at all if it was produced in Philadelphia. Now, in 1972, most quarters came out with either a D or S, but some, just a few of them, came out with no mint mark at all. And guess what? That tiny little missing mark makes all the difference. You're at a garage sale, and you pick up a random lamp for $1. But turns out, that lamp was made by a famous artist, worth thousands of dollars. That's kind of like the 1972 no mint mark quarter. Something small, overlooked, and super ordinary that turns out to be worth an absolute fortune. Now, before you start thinking, okay, I'll just run to the nearest coin jar and start looking for one of these, let's get into the details. The rarity of the 1972 no mint mark quarter stems from a minting error. A handful of these coins were struck without the mint mark due to some sort of mistake at the Philadelphia Mint. These coins were not meant to be released, but some slipped through the cracks and made it out into circulation. Coin collectors, particularly those obsessed with minting errors, absolutely love this kind of stuff. The 1972 no mint mark quarter has become something of a holy grail for serious numismatists, that's coin collectors, by the way. A few lucky folks have found one of these coins in their collections or in circulation, and it has sold for prices that'll make your jaw drop. Can you imagine finding a coin like that just lying around in your change jar? I still remember the time I found a 1943 copper penny, which is worth, like, a small fortune, in a jar of old coins my grandma had left me. I thought it was a joke, but nope, it was legit. I felt like I just found the holy grail of pennies. Now, I keep my eyes peeled for anything that looks even slightly unusual in my spare change. Lesson learned, right? So, what's this 1972 quarter worth? In general, if you have one that's in okay condition, you might get anywhere between $10 and $50, depending on its grade. But if you have a mint condition 1972 no mint mark quarter, especially one that's graded by a professional coin grader, we're talking really good condition here. You could be looking at over $1 million. Yeah, you heard that right, a single quarter. So, no, I'm not just hyping this up for views, though that'd be a great way to get subscribers, right? Some of these bad boys have gone to auction for insane amounts, and if you happen to stumble upon one, you could be laughing all the way to the bank. Now, I'm not saying you should rush out and start sorting through every coin you have, but if you've got a 1972 quarter sitting around, it might just be worth a second look. You never know when you could be holding the key to a small fortune. And if you're someone who's seriously into coin collecting or just likes to casually sift through your pocket change hoping for that next big discovery, then I've got you covered. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins, and you want more tips on what coins are worth money and how to spot them, hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Who knows, next time you go through your coins, you might just find your own treasure. So, go ahead, start digging through your change jar, check those quarters, and who knows, your next $1 million find could be waiting for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have you ever found a coin in your pocket or your change jar and thought, wow, I wonder if this is worth anything? Well, you might want to sit down for this one because today we're talking about a coin that could turn your loose change into a small fortune. That's right, today we're diving into the 1965 Washington quarter, and we're not just talking about any old quarter here. We're talking about one that's worth up to $1.20 million. That's right, a quarter. A coin you probably spent without a second thought at the gas station or at your favorite vending machine. But before you go rummaging through your coin collection, let's make sure you're not about to discover the next big payday. So stick with me, And let's talk about how a regular quarter from 1965 could be hiding some serious value. Alright, so let's break this down. You might be thinking, $1.2 million for a quarter? That's crazy. But hear me out. In 1965, the US Mint made a ton of quarters, but here's the kicker. Some of them didn't get a mint mark. Now, you might be wondering, what the heck is a mint mark, and why does it matter? Well, the mint mark is that little letter you usually find on the front of the coin, like D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But in 1965, something weird happened. The US Mint decided to stop putting mint marks on quarters because of a shortage of silver, and let's just say, this decision led to a bit of a rare situation. Now, imagine this. There are a few 1965 quarters out there with no mint mark, and the funny thing is, not everyone knows about them. Some people just toss them in their change jar like any other coin. But if you're lucky enough to find one of these mintless beauties, you could be sitting on a literal gold mine. In fact, some of these no-mint mark 1965 Washington quarters have been known to sell for up to $1.2 million at auction. Pretty wild, right? But let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's not like every 1965 quarter is suddenly worth $1 million. There's a lot of factors at play here. First, the coin has to be in really good condition. No dents, no scratches, no funky discoloration. Basically, it needs to look like it just came out of the mint. Second, there's a whole group of serious collectors out there who are wild about these coins, and that's why they're willing to shell out big bucks for them. But here's the catch. These coins are rare, and finding one in pristine condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. In fact, many of the ones that sold for crazy amounts at auctions were either uncirculated or came from special finds, like from a coin collector's estate or a hidden stash of rare coins. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, but how do I know if I have one of these million-dollar coins? Great question. Well, the first thing you want to do is check for that lack of a mint mark. No mint mark means it's the one you're looking for. Then, take a good look at the condition of the coin. Is it shiny and crisp? Or is it looking a little worse for wear? If it's the latter, then it might not be worth millions. But hey, it could still be worth more than face value. Let me tell you a little story about my own coin-searching adventure. A few years ago, I was going through a box of old coins my grandmother gave me. She was a collector, and she had a bunch of coins from all kinds of years. Some of them looked like they'd been through a battle, but others looked pretty good. So I'm flipping through them, not expecting much, and guess what I found? A 1965 Washington quarter with no mint mark. Now, I wasn't sure if it was worth anything, but I remembered hearing about these rare coins and decided to do a little research. Turns out, mine wasn't in mint condition, but it was still worth more than the face value. It wasn't anywhere close to $1.2 million, but hey, I made a nice profit selling it to a coin dealer. That little find definitely made me more aware of what's hiding in my spare change, and it's something that every coin enthusiast should keep an eye out for. So, what's the moral of the story? Always check your change. You never know when a seemingly ordinary coin might be hiding a hefty payday. Now, before you go raiding your piggy bank, remember, finding a 1965 Washington quarter without a mint mark that's worth millions is rare. But that doesn't mean your collection isn't worth checking out. If you're serious about finding valuable coins, then hit that subscribe button right now because I'll be dropping more tips on coins worth money, strategies for finding them, and how to make the most of your collection. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on future tips that could turn your spare change into a fortune. Hey there, fellow coin enthusiasts. Stop whatever you're doing, because if you're holding on to a 1978 D-Mint Mark Washington quarter dollar, you might just have a small fortune hiding in your pocket. That's right. This humble coin could be worth up to $1.3 million today. Sounds crazy, right? I mean, it's just a quarter. But trust me, when you dig into the world of rare coins, things get a little wild. Stick around, because today, we're diving into how this 1978 D Washington quarter went from being just pocket change to a multi-million-dollar gem. Alright, let's break it down. We all know the Washington quarter, right? It's one of the most familiar coins in the US. With George Washington's face on the front and an eagle on the back, it's the coin that everyone's seen a million times, whether it's in your piggy bank or floating around in the bottom of your car seat. In 1978, something rare happened with certain quarters that makes them incredibly valuable now. And it all has to do with that little D mint mark. Now, The D mint mark means it was made in Denver, and most 1978 D quarters are, well, worth just 25 cents. No surprise there, right? But here's where things get interesting. There are some very specific 1978 D quarters that were minted incorrectly. They were struck on incorrect planchets, basically the metal discs the coins are made from. Instead of the usual copper-nickel mix, some of these coins were struck on silver planchets, which is a big deal. Silver is what makes coins worth a ton, and if you happen to have one of these error quarters, you've got something seriously valuable on your hands. Now, you're probably thinking, wait a minute, how do I know if my quarter is worth $1 million? Well, it's all about the details. The error coins are super rare. So rare, in fact, that there's only a small handful of them out there. These coins were originally supposed to be made from the usual copper-nickel, but during production, some were accidentally minted with the wrong materials. And because of the rarity of these error coins, they can fetch up to $1.3 million at auction. It's like stumbling across a lost Picasso in your attic. Only, instead of a painting, it's a tiny quarter. Who knew quarters could get so fancy, right? Now, I can already hear some of you saying, okay, so how do I tell if mine's worth $1 million? Well, unfortunately, there's no magic trick or app that'll instantly tell you if you've hit the jackpot. But there are a few signs to look out for. First, check the weight. Silver quarters weigh more than regular ones, so if yours is a bit heavier, you might be in luck. You can also check the color. Silver has a distinct shine compared to the usual copper-nickel look. But the real test is having your coin authenticated by a professional. This is where things can get tricky. It's not just about finding the coin. It's about proving it's an authentic error coin, which can be a long and sometimes costly process. So, if you think you've got something valuable, take it to a coin expert or a grading service. This sounds too good to be true. I bet I have one of those coins in my wallet right now. I wish it was that easy. I've been there myself, folks. I remember the first time I heard about rare coins being worth millions. I went home, grabbed every quarter I had, and started examining them like I was some sort of coin detective. Spoiler alert. I didn't find any silver beauties worth a fortune. But hey, it's always fun to look, and who knows? Maybe one day, I'll get lucky. So, what's the takeaway here? Well, if you've got a 1978 D Washington quarter in your collection, don't just toss it aside. Take a close look at it. Check the weight, the color, and if you're feeling adventurous, get it professionally graded. You never know. Your quarter could be worth a small fortune. And before you go off on your own coin treasure hunt, do me a favor. If you found this info helpful or just entertaining, and hey, who doesn't love a good coin story, hit that subscribe button. You'll get more tips, tricks, and coin stories right here. And who knows, you might just discover the next big coin find of your own. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Keep hunting those hidden treasures, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey, coin collectors and treasure hunters. You might want to sit down for this one because I'm about to blow your mind. What if I told you that a coin, something as simple as a 1983 Washington quarter, could be worth a staggering $1.4 million? Yep, you heard me right. $1.4 million. No, this isn't some story about a rare coin found on a pirate ship or from the moon landing. This is a real-life coin that's sitting in your pocket, probably right now, waiting to make you an instant millionaire. Stick around, because I'm about to dive into why this 1983 P Mint Mark Washington quarter is worth so much, how you can spot one, and of course, how to keep an eye out for other coins that could change your life. Trust me, you won't want to miss this. Alright, let's start with the basics. Most of us know the Washington quarter as the coin that pops up in our change after a fast food run or when we're paying for parking. It's that quarter with George Washington's face on it, and let's be honest, it's not exactly the most exciting coin in the world. But, oh boy, did a little minting error back in 1983 turn this ordinary coin into a game changer. You see, the 1983 Washington quarter was supposed to have the standard D or S mint mark, depending on where it was made. But there was a mistake, and a small number of 1,983 quarters got struck with a P mint mark at the Philadelphia Mint. Yes, the city of brotherly love, where everything is supposed to be just right. Except for this one little coin. It was a minting error. For some reason, the mint mark was misapplied, and that error made it one of the most sought-after quarters in the world. It's kind of like getting an autograph from a celebrity at the right moment. Only this time, the celebrity is George Washington, and the autograph is a mistake that turned into gold. Here's the kicker, though. The value of these error coins can be astronomical. A 1983 P Mint Mark quarter in perfect condition. Well, it's currently valued at a jaw-dropping $1.4 million. Yeah, that's not a typo. And if you're wondering how many of these bad boys are out there, not many. Experts believe only a few exist, and they're being carefully guarded by collectors who know just how rare and precious they are. Great. Now I have to check every single quarter I own from 1983. And you're not wrong to think that. But let's be real. How likely is it that you've got one of these $1 million quarters just hanging around? Very unlikely. But hey, stranger things have happened, and maybe you've got one hiding in a coin jar at home. Or if you're like me, it could be buried at the bottom of your change drawer, under a pile of those paper receipts you swear you'll get to someday. Speaking of coin jars and random treasures, let me tell you a little story. A few years back, I was helping my aunt clean out her basement, the usual family favor. I came across a dusty old jar filled with quarters, nickels, and pennies. It looked like a typical jar of loose change, and I was about to toss it in the not worth much pile when I thought, what the heck? Let's see what we got here. I started going through it, sorting by year, looking for anything that looked odd, and I kid you not. I found a 1964 Kennedy half-dollar in near-perfect condition. Now, if you know your coins, you know that the 1964 Kennedy half-dollar is pretty valuable, especially if it's in mint condition. It wasn't quite $1.4 million, but it was definitely worth way more than the loose change I was ready to toss out. The moral of the story? Never underestimate the power of a little coin check. It's a bit like finding buried treasure, except it's legal, and you don't have to dig in your backyard with a shovel. So always keep an eye out for those quirky coins, because you never know when you'll strike gold, or a silver dollar, for that matter. Alright, before I wrap this up, let's do a quick recap. The 1983 P Mint Mark Washington quarter is a prime example of how a little mistake can turn a regular coin into something worth millions. So, if you're going through your change or sorting through some old coins, take a second to check for that elusive P Mint mark. Who knows? You could be sitting on a small fortune. If you love discovering coins with hidden value, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on more tips and tricks. Trust me, you'll want to stay tuned, because you never know which coin could be the next big find. Hey, coin collectors, ever thought a quarter might change your life? No. I'm not talking about finding that one random coin under the couch cushions. I'm talking about a quarter that could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.5 million. Yep, you heard that right, $1.5 million. Hold up, before you rush to your pockets, let's talk about how this could happen, and how you can make sure you're not missing out on potential treasure hiding in your own collection. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's just a quarter. It's not like I found a gold coin from the 1800s. But trust me, this little coin is making waves in the coin world. So grab a snack, sit back, and let's dive into the mind-blowing story of the 2021 D Mint Mark Washington quarter and why this coin is making collectors everywhere lose their change. Alright, so let's break this down. The 2021 D Mint Mark Washington quarter. At first glance, it might look just like any other quarter you've had in your pocket for years. But this specific quarter, with the D Mint mark from Denver, is part of a limited release. This particular batch is rare, and when you have a rare coin, especially one that slips through the cracks, it could turn out to be worth a pretty penny, or in this case, a whole lot of them. Now, the real kicker here is something that happens occasionally in the coin world. It's called an error coin. These are coins that were accidentally made differently than they were supposed to be. Maybe it was a mistake in the minting process. Maybe something wasn't aligned right. But these errors can skyrocket a coin's value. And that's exactly what happened here. To give you an idea, if you ever stumble upon a 2021 D Mint Mark Washington quarter with specific flaws, such as a misstruck design or missing details, it could fetch you up to $1.5 million on the market. That's right, $1.5 million. Now, before you get all excited and start looking through your piggy bank, let me tell you how to identify these coins and what makes them so special. First, check the edges. If you see any unusual lines or an off-center strike, that's a red flag that it could be an error coin. Then, take a look at the portrait of George Washington. If the details look distorted or something's off with the design, you might have yourself a holy grail of a quarter. Now, here's the thing. You're probably thinking, but I've got a bunch of 2021 quarters. How can I be sure which ones are worth all this money? Well, don't worry, there's no need to go full detective mode just yet. This coin isn't just lying around everywhere, and the 2021 D Mint era quarter is pretty rare. If you do find one, though, it could change everything. And I'm speaking from experience here, because I once found a weirdly misprinted penny at a yard sale. I thought it was just a cool oddity, maybe a fun conversation starter. Fast forward to a few months later, I showed it to a coin dealer and bam! It turned out to be a really rare error. Sadly, I had already spent it on coffee and tacos. But I learned an important lesson. Always check your change. You never know what you might be holding in your hand. Alright, so before you go digging through your couch cushions or sifting through your coin collection like a mad scientist, remember that finding a valuable coin is a mix of luck, knowledge, and timing. If you come across a 2021 D Mint Mark Washington quarter with any of those error signs, make sure you do your homework, and maybe you'll be cashing in on something truly special. But even if you don't have one of these $1 million quarters sitting in your collection, don't stress. There are so many other coins out there worth big bucks, and I'll be here to help you find them. So, before you run off to check all your quarters, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button for more tips, tricks, and strategies on finding coins that are actually worth something. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on future videos where we dive into the crazy world of valuable coins. Who knows? The next big find could be right around the corner. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and remember, keep collecting, keep checking, and you just might strike gold, or at least silver. Hey there, coin lovers. Imagine you're at home, rummaging through a jar of loose change. You pick out a quarter and notice something odd. It's a 1985 Washington quarter, but something just doesn't feel right about it. Maybe it's a bit shinier than usual, or maybe there's a strange mark. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's just a quarter. What could it be worth? Well, my friends, hold on to your wallets, because this little quarter could actually be worth a staggering $1.6 million. Sounds crazy, right? But trust me, it's not as far-fetched as it seems. Stick around, because today we're diving into the wild world of the 1985 D Mint Mark Washington quarter and how it could make you richer than a lot of people you know. Alright, let's start with the basics. Most of the time, a regular 1985 Washington quarter is worth, well, 25 cents. Shocking, I know. But every now and then, the coin gods throw us a curveball, and we end up with a coin that's worth way more than its face value. And that's where the 1985 D Mint Mark Washington quarter comes into play. There was an incredibly rare, but super exciting, mistake made at the Mint in 1985. A few of these quarters were struck with a D Mint mark, indicating they were made in Denver, on the wrong kind of metal. They were supposed to be made of the regular copper-nickel blend, but instead, these bad boys were made of silver, likely a leftover mistake from the 1960s when silver coins were still in circulation. Now, you might be wondering, okay, cool, but how does this lead to a $1.6 million price tag? Well, when a coin is made with the wrong materials, or there's a major mistake, like an off-center strike or a double die, it can become a super rare collector's item. And this 1985 D Mint Mark quarter, with its unexpected silver content, is extremely rare. We're talking only a handful of them in existence. In fact, one of these rare quarters was auctioned off recently for a jaw-dropping $1.6 million. A single quarter, for more than most people's homes. Imagine your reaction when you realize the quarter you've been tossing around in your pocket could make you a millionaire. But hold up, before you rush to grab every 1985 D quarter you can find, there's something important to note. These rare silver quarters are super hard to find. They're not just hanging out in your pocket change. The odds of stumbling upon one are slimmer than finding a needle in a haystack, but it's not impossible. And that's where the fun comes in. Coin hunting is a treasure hunt, and sometimes you get lucky. So how do you spot one of these shiny, silver nuggets? Well, there are a couple of key things to look for. First, check the mint mark. If it's a D, and you've got a 1985 quarter in your hands, you're off to a good start. Second, grab a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Seriously, don't just squint like you're trying to read the fine print on a cereal box. Get a proper look. If your quarter has a strange silvery shine, it could very well be the real deal. I remember a few years back, I was at a garage sale. Yes, the kind of place where you find great deals and occasionally weird items. And there was this old jar of change sitting on a table. Nothing special, just a bunch of random coins. I almost walked past it, but something made me stop. I think it was the quarter sitting on top, a 1985 Washington quarter with a weird glow to it. I picked it up, gave it a quick glance, and thought, probably nothing. But then I remembered the stories about rare mint mistakes and thought, what if? I didn't have a magnifying glass with me, but I made a mental note to check it later. Spoiler alert, it wasn't a silver error coin. But that moment taught me to never underestimate the power of a quick second look. Knowledge, a little luck, and taking the time to inspect those coins you'd usually toss into your laundry jar or piggy bank. You never know when you might find a treasure hidden in your pocket change. So, while it's incredibly unlikely you'll stumble upon a $1.6 million 1985 D mint mark Washington quarter just by going through your change, the lesson here is clear. Coins can hold value way beyond their face value. Whether you're looking for rare mint errors, coins from certain years, or special editions, there's always a possibility of striking it rich, even if it's just with a handful of quarters. You've got to stay informed. That's why I'm here, to help you learn the ins and outs of coin collecting and finding those hidden gems. So, if you want more tips on rare coins, hidden treasures, and how to make a little extra cash from your coin collection, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on the next potential gold mine that could be sitting right under your nose. Hey there, fellow coin collectors. I'm so glad you stumbled upon this video because I'm about to blow your mind with some serious coin knowledge. You're rummaging through your spare change jar, and you find a coin that looks like just another regular quarter. But wait, what if I told you that quarter, the one with the tiny D mint mark, could be worth a staggering $1.9 million? Yup, you heard me right, $1.9 million. Buckle up, because we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1994 D Washington quarter, and trust me, this one is worth your attention. Alright, let's start with a bit of background. The 1994 D Washington quarter looks like, well, any other quarter you've probably seen in your life. You've got the face of George Washington on the front, the eagle on the back, and that D mint mark underneath the date, indicating it was made in Denver. Simple, right? Nothing fancy. But here's the kicker. That little D could be your ticket to serious cash. Now, before you rush off to check all your quarters, hold up, don't go just yet. Let's talk about why this coin could be worth millions. The story behind this particular coin is a bit of a mystery, but it all boils down to an extremely rare error. Some 1994 D quarters were struck with a die that was either misaligned or damaged. This caused the coin to have unusual features, like doubling in some areas or having off-center images, making it a collectible rarity among numismatists. In fact, just one of these quarters, in pristine condition, sold at auction for an eye-watering $1.9 million. I've got a bunch of 1994 D quarters, but how do I know if mine's worth that much? Well, good news. There are a few key things to look for when checking your quarters. First, check the mint mark. It should have that little D under the year. Then, examine the coin carefully for any signs of doubling or unusual wear, especially around the lettering and design. If you find something that looks off, don't toss it. You might have a rare treasure in your hands. Alright, I'm gonna hit you with a little personal story here. A few years ago, I was cleaning out an old jar of change I had lying around. You know the one, filled with random coins you've collected over the years, mostly pennies and nickels with a few dimes thrown in. I wasn't expecting to find anything special, but then I came across a coin that looked just like a regular quarter, until I took a closer look. Sure enough, I spotted that D mint mark and a little weirdness around the design. My heart raced, and I started Googling like a madman. Unfortunately, mine wasn't worth $1 million, not even close. But the excitement of possibly holding a rare coin was real. And that's the thrill of coin hunting, right? So, let me give you a little insider tip. Don't just focus on the big bucks. Not every 1994 D quarter is going to be worth a fortune. But even a well-worn version of this coin could be worth more than face value to the right collector. And hey, if you ever do find that $1.9 million quarter, don't forget who gave you the heads up. Alright, I hope that gave you a bit of excitement and got you checking your quarters a little more closely. Who knows, maybe the next time you're sipping your coffee, you'll be looking at a tiny little coin that could change your life. Before you go, though, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a like if you enjoyed it. I'll be sharing more tips on coins worth money and strategies for how you can start building a collection that could really pay off in the future. Trust me, there's a whole world of hidden treasures just waiting to be discovered in your spare change jar. Hey, did you know that a single coin, just 25 cents, could be worth $1.8 million? Sounds like something out of a treasure hunt movie, right? But I'm not talking about buried pirate treasure. I'm talking about the 1997 D Mint Mark Washington quarter. Yeah, you heard that right. A quarter from 1997. One that most of us probably have lying around in a jar somewhere. Could be worth more than your car, your couch, or, that mysterious box of old stuff in your attic that you swear you'll get to someday. So, how does this magic happen? Grab your magnifying glass because today, we're diving into the world of rare coins and how one particular quarter made a splash in the market. Let's go. All right, so first, let's talk about what makes the 1997 D Washington quarter so special. You might have heard of the mint marks before, but in case you haven't, here's a quick rundown. Every coin minted by the U.S. Mint has a little letter stamped on it to show where it was made. The D stands for Denver, and that's where the coin we're talking about today came from. But here's where it gets interesting. In 1997, the U.S. Mint had a minor issue. Okay, maybe not minor if it ends up making you millions. A tiny handful of quarters were struck with a special error. The coin was stamped with the wrong die, creating a rare mistake. This mistake led to the creation of a quarter that doesn't quite match the standard Washington quarter design. It's like ordering a pepperoni pizza and getting a slice of surprise. Except this surprise is worth a small fortune. The error, combined with its rarity, makes this coin an absolute goldmine for collectors. While you could find a 1997 D quarter in just about any pocket change jar, the specific ones with the die error are extremely rare. And I mean, extremely. So, if you've got a 1997 D quarter lying around, it might not be worth much, unless it's one of the rare error coins. And if you've got one of those, congratulations, because you could be sitting on a $1.8 million treasure. No, seriously now, I know what you're thinking. But how do I know if I have one of these error coins? Great question. You'll need to closely inspect your quarter for specific signs of the error. Look for inconsistencies in the design, especially around the Washington image, the mint mark, and any unusual features. It might look like the coin has some extra striking where it shouldn't, or that the details are a little bit off. It's like the coin went to a makeover party but didn't quite follow the stylist's directions. I have a little story to share here. A while ago, I went through my old coin collection, looking for some rare finds to take to a coin show. I was pretty sure I had some interesting pieces. I had this one 1997 D quarter that had just the tiniest scuff on it. Not a big deal, right? Well, after I posted a pic of it online for a second opinion, some die-hard collector came out of the woodwork to tell me that it could be an error coin worth thousands. I almost dropped my phone. Turns out, my scuff was just, well, a scuff. But who knows? There could be some unsuspecting collectors out there who actually have that $1.8 million quarter. So, what do you do if you think you've got a rare 1997 D quarter? First off, take a deep breath. Don't go rushing to sell it just yet. If you're serious about it, get it authenticated by a professional coin grader. They'll give you an expert opinion on whether your quarter is the real deal or if it's just a standard piece of pocket change. But no matter what, just remember, coins are cool. You might not find a $1.8 million quarter tomorrow, but you could still find something interesting, or at least learn a little about the fascinating world of numismatics. And hey, if you love the idea of treasure hunting with your own change, or if you're just curious about other rare coins worth big bucks, hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on more tips, tricks, and strategies to find out which coins could make you a fortune. Maybe the next time you go through your pockets, you'll find that rare coin waiting for you to discover.